Can you talk about the thing I heard you talk about creating from the energy of something, like we are just talking about energy, like instead of, okay, what, like if I have the specific target, like, well, I need to have business in Costa Rica and my host has to get there and it has to look like this, like the specific things. I heard you talk about what's the energy behind that?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So one thing is that a lot of people set a target and then they have an entire collection of beautiful conclusions that go with that target.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, exactly. It has to be like this. I have to have this person do that. I have to, it's all the have tos and the should dos and the must dos. And so when I set a target, it's like, well, I wonder what it would take to get there. And like, I will be really present with that target. And I will be asking, like, probably every half an hour or hour, okay, is there anything else I can add to this? What else can I create with this? So I have a much more fluid and organic approach to the creation process. Like for my classes that I'm about to do in Europe, for example, like with one of them, the London one, we have changed the topic like 3 or 4 times in the last 3 months. And I still even haven't put up the promotion for it because I'm just like, oh, but there'll come this moment when the energy is there to put that up. It'll be that fast. And a lot of people would make themselves really wrong because in theory, it's just over a month away and you should have those things out there. But my point of view is, wow, it hasn't come up energetically yet. And so I'm like, okay, cool. So, what else can I contribute to this? And the other thing is I would always be contributing energy to that class, even if the world doesn't know about it yet.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you in the membership, this will be one of the topics, contributing energy to our project.
I'm pretty much going to probably talk out loud a lot of the things I do really naturally,
awesome.
because what I realized was that all my life, I've been a very last minute creator, right?
Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
I've been judging myself for being a last minute creator.
Oh, yeah. Well, my family used to call me last minute Lisa. And you could take offense at that, or you could literally look at it and go, well, is that actually how it works for me? And largely it is, right? And so I don't make myself wrong for it. But what I do is go, okay, so is it going to create more to create this now or later, now or later, now or later? And I'm always in that question of what's going to create the most. And so literally as we go through Business Alchemy, so there's a topic for the month, but then there's random content, basically. And I get that during the month, I will add certain things. As different questions come up, I'll probably make you some little audios that talk about the process and how I do it different. So I don't actually know exactly what it's going to look like yet, and this is the adventure of it and the curiosity of it. It's like, oh, well, what would you like it to be? Because you also get to co-create this with me, because it's like, I get that we're embarking on something that really not many people, well, if any people, have ever done before. Most people don't sort of bring all these things together in one place. And I'm looking at, well, what if it could just be an adventure every day?
Yeah. So it can be, or will it be interactive? Like we can say, oh, this is coming up for me.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing is, I'm not going to be in the Facebook group nonstop. Okay. There is a Facebook group, but I mean, I have other things that I do. So I'm not going to be there all the time. But what I am going to encourage a lot is that, yes, people do interact, because everyone has different awareness and different experiences. And my target would be that everyone would be contributing to everyone else. So that it's like, what if you have 10 ideas to choose from rather than one way? So there will be that kind of interaction. And as we move forward, like probably by about month 3 or 4, I'm actually going to add in where you can ask to have a collaboration partner for the month. So you'll actually have someone to talk to one-on-one that will just be someone who can, be a sounding board for your ideas so you can talk them out loud. Because I know for me, it helps a lot when I talk things out loud. And I know for a lot of people, it helps a lot if you talk them out loud. And so, yes, there's going to be quite a lot of interaction in it. And of course, the actual platform that the classes are built on, that gives you this sense of, you can interact with the specific resources. There's actually a discussion board for each one. So there's lots of different ways of interacting. And there is a monthly telecall as well. So you can always get on that call with me and ask questions.
Cool. Once a month?
Yeah, once a month.
That's already like I mean, the price of the membership that's
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah.
And there's so much more stuff. There's so much
Yeah.
more content.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I would like thousands and thousands of people to begin to work this way. Because when I worked in corporate and I had burnout, for those of you who don't know, really severely, like couldn't really sit up, couldn't speak, couldn't remember what people said to me. People say, would you like some chocolate? I'd be like, what? Because literally I couldn't keep it in my mind long enough to answer.
Yeah.
And so I came out of that. And my one thing was, wow, what would it take for work to be really enjoyable for people? And what would it take for people to be kinder to each other in working environments and in business? And so for me, if we could get like 1,000 people that would be happily making their work more joyful, more ease, more creative, more adventurous, with curiosity, rather than making it really serious and significant, it would start to change the world. And that's really my target with this. And that's why I've made the price like it is, because I would like anyone who chooses to be able to come and play with us. So
that is awesome. And then, because I can see 1,000 people just energetically and creating this different, and then 2,000, and that like there's this tipping point.
Yeah.
When it just becomes like an awareness of a possibility for so many more people.
Yeah. And that's
and then what will that
my target.
People just, instead of people being like, okay, I'm going to work, I hate Monday.
Yeah.
Popping up going, ooh.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
And there's an energy of instead of competition, it feels. Do you want to talk about competition?
Sure. What would you like me to say about it?
I was talking. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, there are some people that are very competitive, and if that's you, this is probably not the place for you either, because what I would say is competition is always about someone else having less.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And what I look at with the co-creation and the collaboration and all the connections that people can make through this is it's always going to be about people having more together, about creating more in the world together. Because a lot of people are literally just, they have this conclusion that if someone else has something, then they have less. And it's not true, and I would like to just remove that from the space. And it's different, I think, when people copy people. And when I say it's different, what I would say about that is, if you're copying someone and, basically seeing someone's good idea and then stealing it, you've got to ask, is that honoring of you and who you are? And is that honoring of them and who they are? Because you're not going to create it in the way that they could. And literally it's like, what is it about this that would create something totally different? So I don't really look at competition lots of people copy my stuff. Lots of people do competition in different ways. And I just make it irrelevant. If I made that relevant, I would spend so much energy on that stuff. It would be ridiculous. And I would rather actually put all that energy into being creative.
Cool.
Yeah. And with the competition, of course, is the other thing of judgment. When people have points of view about your ideas, like I have had a huge amount of judgment over the last few years because people are like, well, why are they doing that? And they shouldn't do that. And they haven't, like 10 million points of view. And I have totally made it irrelevant. My point of view is, thank you very much for your point of view. That's it. And it's literally like, I make no effort to buy it. In fact, I won't buy it because I learned a long time ago that if I did what other people thought I should do, everyone has a different point of view and everyone will be going around in circles, or I will be going around in circles, actually trying to meet all those points of view. And that's exhausting, actually. So I wake up in the morning and I go, well, what would be fun for me today? And, it's pretty rare for me to wake up cranky. I might have, 5 or 6 cranky days a year. And that's usually awesome. It's not work related, And I know for most people, when I worked in corporate, I used to email myself something before I went to work so that I have something to be happy about later in the day.
Yeah.
Right? And when I looked at that, I was like, that's not how I would like the world to be. I would like the world to be so much more joyful than that.
Oh, wait. Where did my question go? I was like, I have to ask you. Oh, will you, I have heard you, I just had to listen really carefully, but I've seen that you, okay, everything you're describing, you you really are successful. You're like, oh, I think, I'm going to go take this horse class in Texas and just fly from Australia for 3 days. And you really have such an ease with attracting clients. So
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, this is just a really nice, happy plan, but it actually
Oh
works.
yeah. No, it works for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. What can I say about that?
How long have you been being like this way? How long have you?
Oh wow. When I first started my business, the coaching got quite successful quite quickly. Then I had a very interesting relationship, let's just call it that for now. And a lot of things got messed up for about 2 or 3 years because the energy was not conducive to how I am. And when I look back, I'm like, man, I was a slow learner for that. So that was about 3 years then. So the first 2 years were awesome. The next 3 years were not so awesome. And it took me a while to come back from that messy space. And what I would say though is really since I started Creativity Lab, which is about 3 or 4 years ago, things just keep growing and growing and growing and growing, going about it the way that we're talking about today, because that's what I'm looking at is, okay, what will allow this to grow? And I don't have a point of view about what the answer is. So, like I went to the first international trip I didn't have the money to go, and I literally was like, okay, so I borrowed enough money from my parents for the airfare. And then we put all the payments through PayPal, but then PayPal shut down my account because there's some limit or something. I don't know, something. Can't remember now. And